Welcome back to the Industry Brief. We get to talk about Xbox again this week. But
making waves.
Dude, the news just keeps coming. So new CEO,
Yeah.
and now new console.
Yes. This is our first news of any, gosh, what generation are we on? 7th, 8th generation consoles. So it's pretty big. I mean, this is Xbox. Xbox is the first one, unless you count Switch 2. I don't know if I count Switch 2.
I think it's 9th generation is what it's
9th generation.
Is
Do we
what we're
count
on.
Switch 2?
The
feels
current
like
generation is 9th. So this is going to be the 10th.
This will be 10th. Do you count Switch 2 as the 10th? I feel like it's like a refresh.
Well,
it's like a pro.
Nintendo's always kind of oftentimes goes in between and stuff like that. I do think I have my own arguments there, but like I do think it is their 10th console. So
you think so?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to come out with another one for 5+ years. So I do think.
Yeah, but normally they just do such radical changes in between their console launches, you know.
But that's different to me. I think there's a big indication that a lot of their behavior is changing. And so I agree with that, but based off the leadership they have nowadays, I think they're milking.
Is there new leadership?
Yeah, there's been new leadership.
As of when?
Reggie left. I think from
oh yeah, Reggie did leave.
There's a lot of people that have with what's going on.
Yeah.
And the Reggie way. But which is great. It's kind of subtle but snarky.
Yeah. It is. I mean, that's interesting. I kind of like almost got into my entire life that I've been aware of video games. Nintendo has been making massive iterations and changes on their console, and then you get like a 2, like you get a sequel to a console.
Well, look at the games that are being released right now, and that to me is its own conversation. But like right now, that Nintendo is a different company than it was 10 years ago.
True. So I digress. So if we leave since you said like Nintendo's a bit of a out of it on the, or like a bit of a separate category. The Xbox, I guess, like beat PlayStation to the punch to get news.
Announcing.
Yeah, get announcing. It's not much, okay? So let me show you guys what's actually
we're dealing with here.
Yeah, it's about as sparse as you get get this little thing. I have no idea if this is going to go.
Yeah, it's playing. Wow.
Whoa. Okay, so yes, it's basically just a splash logo. And if you got Asha though, gave us a little bit more details. Okay, so she said, "Great start to the morning with the Team Xbox. Talked about our commitment to the return of the Xbox, including Project Helix, the code name for our next generation console. Helix will lead in performance and play your Xbox and PC games." This is the biggest piece of information.
This is what everyone's talking about.
Absolutely. And I guess also next week we are going to have more information at the Game Dev Conference. So, we should maybe get some details on specs or what this, sort of cryptic but promising line means.
What do you think is going to be the specs of this console? What do you think is going to be? It doesn't help with all the RAM issues going on right now, but
yeah, RAM is bad.
What do you think this is going to look like going forward? What is this console?
Okay, so let's talk about it relative to PC graphics. Okay, so if we look at the Series, the Series X specs,
yeah,
right? The Series X.
Yeah, keep going.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's pretty good because Series X versus Series S. I think it would have like 32 gigs of RAM.
Yeah. Well, and I guess really if you think about it, because they get to kind of tweak some stuff because it's a custom architecture.
Yeah.
They get to sort of optimize things in a way that you don't have that luxury on PC. In PC, you have to design your games to um, they have to work across a wide range of architectures, of processors, and all sorts of stuff. And so there's a lot of inefficiencies in the gaming and PC gaming. But uh, on a console, they get to essentially skip software steps and they can hard code things into like just build it into the hardware. And that's what they did. The biggest innovation I think with the Series X was it had 120 frames native.
Mhm. That's right.
That was huge for a console. That used to be the domain of PCs, right?
Yeah, if you
And,
wanted anything above 60.
hmm Yeah, and it actually kind of made Xboxes not I would say competitive with PCs when it comes to competitive games. But I mean, obviously they're not taking the throne. You can't beat like a 5090, you know. But it's I mean, there's a Halo tournament that's going to go on at DreamHack and they're using Series X's because like 120 frames it's that's good enough for most competitive
I always say once
scenarios.
you 120, I used to say 144. There's nothing.
Beyond that, it's like yeah. So, I mean, I think that was a big thing. The other big thing that they did on the Series X is they optimized the SSD. So the transfer speed between the SSD and the RAM was really big. In fact, both consoles, the PlayStation 5 and the Series X, made big deals out of their speeds, and they kind of compared them, and they both have significantly better load times than previous generations.
Let's talk about that then. So, what do you think that means for this next console? Are they just going to do 64 gigs of RAM? Are they still going to do 32 gigs of RAM? Are they just going to optimize it more?
I think they're going to optimize it more. It's kind of hard for me. I'm not like a computer engineer in the sense of like, like totally understand the chips and sort of, you know, what that means, what does a teraflop translate to and on the user end. But this is where I do think that they go with it. I think that the obviously the minimum is going to be like this 120 frame. I think that they're going to really target. I don't even know if they really need to push back past 120 frames at 4K native. They might be able to stay there.
I
Um,
think I think you go. I would argue you go to like 144 just so you have a number.
you could.
It's a numbers game. It's not that
Do,
much more.
do TVs even go past that though?
No, no. But like I said, I wonder how much innovation it is to just push the frames a little bit further.
Yeah. So you kind of I guess you could like future proof it. I think where we're going to see the biggest technical advances is going to be in the CPU, and they're probably going to have a built-in NPU. You know what an NPU is? So an NPU is like it's like a instead of like it's like a specialized CPU. So a GPU is a specialized CPU for graphical computations. NPU is a specialized CPU for AI calculations.
Huh.
So like a lot of smartphones have some version of an NPU in it. The Samsung phones have an on chip NPU that handles their local AI, but it makes the AI computations much faster, much cheaper in terms of energy and heat.
So that's fascinating. So why make hardware? I think has always been a question. And one of them may be they're able to actually push their AI technological advancements and be able to
Hmm.
actually feel like funding those technological hardware advancements in AI and software, I guess, into
Hmm.
gaming, right? I think so.
Yeah.
There's because there's been a huge push that, and I've been a part of that. By the way, I came out
Right.
with a video a few years ago. I was like, dude, why is Xbox is not going to make consoles anymore? Like, but I think based off of their other strategy,
Well, at the time,
that's where
I think you had good reason to believe that.
I did have good reason, and I even listened to after we met last week. I listened to a conversation, and this is due to some of the consulting I'm doing for a company, and it just happenstance. There's these guys that do a podcast, and they sat down with Nod. What's the Microsoft? Satya. What's his name?
Kotak.
Microsoft CEO.
Oh, Nadella.
Nadella.
Oh, yeah,
Satya.
Satya Nadella or
I
something like that.
apologize. Holy
Yeah.
sweet mercy. Anyways,
Mr. Microsoft.
Mr. Microsoft, he sits down actually with a guy I know. His name's John Coogan, and he has this podcast, and they're really prominent in the software space. So like, and I'm like looking at John's content because, anyways, it's a long story short, but like, he starts talking. He's talking about the Xbox, and this was 8-10 months ago, and he was talking about how they are going to be a publisher, basically, and he's speaking pretty openly, and I think because it's kind of a tucked away piece of content, which is what I found so interesting because he's talking software. But John asks him about the Xbox and kind of the branding, and he's like, "Well, we became the biggest publisher now in the world." And the way they're talking,
and John works at Microsoft.
No, John, he had started his own.
Okay, so John is interviewing. Nadella. Okay,
is interviewing Nadella, and it's more of a software SaaS and
conversation.
I would say technology focused conversation. That the people that listen to this are mostly VCs and funds.
Okay, and at some point he veered into gaming.
I'd be curious. I'd love to ask John, be like, "Hey, why'd you ask that question?" Because it was like 45 minutes in. Again, there's like maybe 7,000 views across the video, and you got to remember this is targeting VCs and funds. So like, little to no gamers are going to be targeted in this conversation.
Dang, you should post it. You should post the link below.
Yeah, I could throw it in the video
actually.
So I start listening, but he's just the way he's talking is so open in some ways. Like, but he talks about how, and the way he's talking is so much like Xbox is just this big publisher. Its games are going to be everywhere. It just did not feel like Xbox as a console was the focus. And I think that was like 8 to 10 months ago. And so to have this big pivot and bringing the new CEO and the focus almost seems to, she's like backing up her words, which was the console is the most important thing.
Yeah. Like within a week
or 2 later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
which, I mean, obviously that was in the works. You don't cook that out of whole cloth like that fast.
But there's not much that was shown. And so they've been working on hardware. Don't get me wrong. They've been working on hardware for years, but like.
True. But I mean, they're going to have something to show at the GDC.
But
so
this
maybe
goes back
it depends on what they show.
But. Yes, but this almost goes back to our conversation that we had last week. Messaging versus the actual product and application. There's such a difference. Like they were probably already building this console. Their whole thing was about both being a console and on PC. So like I can already see even just within the logic is like, hey, we should be building something that goes after these both targets because that's where we want to live. We want to live everywhere, right? Yeah. Like, so I bet they were already on this path from a hardware standpoint, but the messaging now and even just kind of the underlining focus has shifted. And I think with Steam, with Steam, it threw a wrench. I think really the GameCube has thrown a wrench. And I say that because they were becoming the all-in-one platform. And what was that?
Okay, just finish your sentence.
Oh, I mean, you could play on console, you could play on PC, you could play on your phone, but like it feels like Steam is now becoming a legit competitor where PlayStation is actually it's tightening up. They're going focusing more on console. So I all I'm saying is I think there has been a shift. Things were already going a certain direction, but they're adjusting. I bet they're adjusting some stuff.
How long ago was a GameCube announced?
6 months ago.
So that's my question is that like I think of Microsoft, this is my impression, but they are one of the behemoths, the titans of industry, right? That they're like the massive oil tankers of the ocean. They don't turn quickly. They don't move fast. Is
Gotcha.
six is
Yes.
6 months enough time to reevaluate your entire Xbox strategy?
No, but it is enough to adjust the messaging.
Yeah. Because I wonder if like Nadella in that interview, if he was just being consistent as a CEO, consistent with what the messaging was at the time. Obviously, they didn't agree with that messaging. Otherwise, they wouldn't have fired Sarah Bond and brought in Asha, who does a 180 on a lot of the messaging. So, like, I don't know if he was just being a good PR representative, like,
I don't think that messaging changes where you play games on any console and we're becoming a publisher. But I think so. Let's talk about what do I think this console is going to be, because I think I'm circling here, and it goes to, I think they are just building a gaming PC that I think it's just literally going to be a PC that's more optimized for gaming.
okay, so it's going to be very similar to the Steam machine.
I think it's very similar to the Steam machine. I think I'll be so curious because you look at the controller, the the Steam machine controller, that thing is wild, right? Like, and I don't know, if I was them, I would build a gaming PC, a place where I can do my computer, all my computer work and needs, and have some kind of connector that can like be wireless to my TV. Of even like maybe there could be a connector that's hardware or something like, I don't know, but they've been so into cloud and all these things. It's like it doesn't have to be that, but I just imagine it being like this central box that you can do work on it. It's going to be more optimized for gaming. I don't know. It just
I see what you're saying.
Does that
I
make
think
sense?
though, I think so. If I were to reword it, is that it sounds like you feel like they're leaning into their Windows roots.
I feel like they're leaning into their Windows roots.
And I don't think you're necessarily wrong with that, but we do need to remember Xbox's storied history with pitching consoles as something other than gaming machines.
I
They they do
I
have a bad
know.
history with that, and they got severely burned, and it probably cost them about 2 generations.
But I feel like that's what they've probably been building, and now they're just reframing it. And so, because like you think about the publisher route, and they're trying
Mhm.
to say it's on everything, and and that's, I agree. It's so hard to change the moving ship, and I feel like they were going towards cloud for a good few years, and that's kind of dwindled a
Mhm.
little bit. Like, think about all the initiatives, and then I would love to find, there was an image I had, which was they had it leaked all, it was like all the hardware you can play
Oh, I think I saw that.
Xbox
Yeah.
Xbox games.
Well, here's what I've seen that in their current iteration of what's been successful, and so this kind of what I think that they're going to lean into. Um, and I'll speak primarily from a user standpoint. Um, so the Play Anywhere is awesome. Like Steam manages like the Steam like game management is so much better. The Xbox web app and store is way clunky compared to Steam. Steam mods are way better. Like Steam
Oh,
excels on all these.
mods.
Yeah, it excels on like a ton of stuff, right? This is why they dominate the market. Yet, I've bought games before on the Xbox store because I knew I could play it on my PC and my Xbox.
Yes.
Like it just the ease of being like, you know what? I'm here. I'm not at my desk. I'm here in my living room. I want to play here. I want to play with my kids watching or whatever,
It's the
So
cross-platform players, and
so
it's like Expedition 33. I have it on Xbox, not Steam, because of the reason you just, like, I just
it,
bought
it,
it.
exactly. So like that's enough to move people away from a superior product to an inferior product because of this orthogonal benefit,
And
right?
that's what Steam's trying to do with the Steam machine, though, is like, oh, you
Yeah,
have it.
That's true. That's true. That's great. So you can see that they're each trying to claw into each other's markets,
Hmm.
right? And I think that it has been announced that Steam is coming to Xbox.
Yes.
And so they are trying to compete for each other. They're adapting what they've seen each other do well. And it's almost like Microsoft's competitor is now Valve.
It feels more so, and it feels like PlayStation is falling, and and I say falling behind, dude. They're staying in the space of console, where
Yeah.
it feels like Xbox or Microsoft is now trying to enter, because the PC market is the same size as the console market, right? They're about the same size,
And that's
and
console market divided across the two
that's divided across the two. Because
or the three.
no, so we have three. So mobile makes up about 51% of gaming in terms of revenue, and then literally console and PC almost exactly the same when
Match
it
each other.
comes. They're
I was just
both like
asking, is
24%.
is like the console that's divided across PlayStation, Switch,
Yes, entire
and okay,
console market. So the entire console market and the PC market are almost exactly the same size
okay.
in
So
terms
like,
of revenue.
so essentially, like the PC breaking into the PC market with a console gives you access to a huge customer base. Now,
A
a
huge
lot of
customer
those,
base. Yep.
I don't think all those customers are mutually exclusive. You've got consoles and PC, same, but there are going to be some customers that are unique to.
I do think console is going to be more unique than PC. I think a lot of people have a PC and a console. I
Okay, I
think
see
a
what you're
lot
saying.
less
Like
people
it's
have a
like a one
PC.
directional straight. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot. I bet there's going to be the number of PC players. I bet it would be double of them. Than like they have a console as well, of some
right.
kind of
If you
console.
game on a PC, you'd
If you
likely
game on
have
a
a
PC,
console.
you likely have a console. Where if you game on a console,
Yeah,
you're less
it's
likely to have a gaming PC.
well, and that's likely because it's a natural progression in terms of price and performance, right?
Totally, it's
It,
natural progression. I think of gamers too, right? The
yeah.
seriousness of a gamer. I have a lot of buddies that have consoles. They play their Call of Duty game. They play
Mhm.
their
Well,
few
it's like
games with their
it's
buddies.
like any hobby, right? I mean, you don't you as you get more into the hobby, you upgrade your equipment, right? So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me too.
And like you don't play keyboard and mouse very often.
Nah,
I
screw that.
play
I'll just suck
I
at it.
play mostly keyboard and mouse games. Like,
Yeah.
and I would say that used to not be the case, but like I used to be more of a console player. I played some PC games when I was a kid, but I was more console. And then because I didn't really have that much access, but the more and more I got access, the more I play, and I just think keyboard and mouse is. I'm like, that's my issue with console games. I'm like, I play Deadlock is has been my game of choice lately. It's like playing a piano. The amount of keys
Mm.
that I need to play this dang game, and so, but like, I can't imagine trying to play that on even Steam's controller.
So do you think that this console I could buy it in lieu of a PC?
And that's what I think with the Xbox console. I let me share my screen. Let's see. Love you too.
Love you. Good enough.
All right. So I'm going to pull this up. So this is what I'm talking about. So originally this leaked a few years ago.
Yeah.
As Xbox was like, this is the future of, and this is like, and this was never released. This was leaked, and so I think that's a really important distinction. This was their strategy. They weren't talking about this yet, but it was the idea was like Xbox Game and Beyond. They
All right. So
had,
let's see what
let's
they've
see,
done.
browser, mobile,
Yeah.
smart TVs. They are on smart TVs.
Yeah. If they're
Uh,
on
they
browsers.
they partnered with Samsung, by the way. Some of
Yes.
Samsung TVs you can do it. The
Low
streaming
end mid
sticks.
PCs. That's interesting.
Yep, and they have their consoles, and they were going for different iterations, right? Because it's all about accessibility. High end PC.
Oh
Do
yeah, and that cloud device that it was like supposed to be like just like this set top box. It's like super cheap, but just
you remember
enhances
that?
your yeah, it enhances your cloud experience. I wonder what happened with that.
It
I
was
could
it
s-
was during that like 1 or 2 years where cloud gaming was like hyped up super hard.
what if could you see the cloud device being the equivalent for Project Helix. If Project Helix is a family, like Project Scarlet was, right?
Yep.
Could you see the cloud device sort of filling the space of the Series S?
Possibly. I think it's a spectrum. So that continues to be what, even what they're showing here. And again, to me, it's like, I'll go back to what I just said. Imagine you buy this console that's also, what was the promise? It's going to play your what? Your console games and your PC games. How? What does that mean? What does that? Why
Yeah.
say that? Like, and I
Yeah,
go,
what does that mean? Does that
it's
mean that you can just access Steam, or like,
does that
or
make
does that
like
or does it mean that you have like a Windows OS?
it maybe has a Windows OS, but to me, it's like, I feel like it's going to be a Windows 11. I feel like it's just going to be a more optimized PC for gaming. And that, again, you could have a device that you could plug into your that's going to link to your console that you can play on your TV. If you want it to be better, you could have a cord. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be all sorts of connections and attachments. But I just, you talk about slow moving ship. Like, the closer they get to being Windows, and I don't know. I feel like that's where they were heading, and
Yeah.
to then change back and say now we're focusing in on the console. To me, that's just a messaging play.
Yeah, you're right. They were probably pursuing all of these things. It's just which of these vehicles do you step on the gas and which ones do you start putting the brakes on?
Yeah.
They're not
Again,
putting their eggs in one basket.
mm-mm, mm-mm. Especially and with the Valve thing. I mean, you gotta.
Well, and do you remember the Rogue Ally
Yeah, it was like
or the
$1,000.
ROG? Yeah, yeah, crazy, right? So like, it had a custom OS.
Did it?
Yeah, so like
There you
it
go.
had a customized Windows 11 home experience, so that you could it kind of functioned like a Steam machine where you could leave the Xbox app, but it was like the main OS was centered around the Xbox experience as opposed to your desktop.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I
Xbox is
could
just a piece of it versus the main.
right. So I could totally see them taking what they've learned from the ROG Ally and applying that at scale to the console.
The reason why I say that, I would be more interested, and I'm like trying to think as a user, right? Because what is the Valve? So the Steam machine, the negative drawback, and this just comes from a Windows user. I know so many people hate Windows, but it's like, I don't love the idea. It's its own operating system. I won't be able to maybe use it like a normal computer, but I'm still paying a ton in hardware.
Hmm.
It just, but like if you were to say, I, this is an Xbox that can function as a PC, that's interesting to me as a
Hmm.
user, because, and it's like, and it can link up to your TV in some capacity. You're consolidating, right? You're consolidating, but it still has like all my Windows capacity, all my needs there. Like,
Yeah, I mean that'd be nice. I mean, for me to be able to access my home, like my PC, without having to run like an HDMI cable through like three walls, to get it to my living room TV. Um, like there's definitely some uses there. Um, I guess like if I
because they
were
have
to
a
go,
cloud though. Again, could they cloud it from their own servers and your own? Like, there's just
y-
so much
I mean,
potential here.
you can do like remote play from your current console if you're on the same network.
Yeah, I don't know what
Like I've done
what the
that
lag
before.
is, but
It's not great. That's like one of the issues is that
competitive games go out the window.
yeah, and it's like you can play certain games on there, but it's like I would play Mass Effect on it. I would play Mass Effect on my phone with like this Asus like little controller thing that I attach to my phone. But I would specifically try to do all of the RPG side of Mass Effect because the aim was just so crappy.
Just
it was just very laggy. So it's like whenever it's like a combat mission, I'd wait until I could play on my console. So it's like I'd go out and watch my kids, and I'd like run around and talk to people at the Citadel and do that kind of stuff, right? But so it's like obviously they're trying to capitalize on their play anywhere strategy. They want
Yes.
you to be able to buy. They want you, if you want to buy something on Steam and something that's only published on Steam, they want you to be able to play that on your console and not that be a barrier to, like, I'm not going to buy this because I can't play that game. So they're going to eliminate
100%.
PC exclusivity
Which, by the
essentially.
way, is probably why PlayStation. It's like
Yeah.
PlayStation is just sucking in. There, you can only play their games on PlayStation. You can only buy
Yeah.
their games on PlayStation.
They are they are retracting or reversing their plans of doing PC ports. Like, it was fun while it lasted, boys, but like, you know, it that sucks, I think, for the kind of industry as a whole. But it is interesting to see that PlayStation's like, we are not going to let you just cheat around our exclusivity policy. So they
Mm-hmm.
still view the exclusive strategy as their primary method of selling consoles.
Totally, both them and Nintendo. They're going to stick to that exclusivity
Hmm. So
strategy.
so I almost see, like, I wonder if it ends up just being that it y- PlayStation um
Nintendo.
and Nintendo start to compete in this microcosm a little bit more,
Totally. Where Xbox and
and
Steam.
in Steam start to compete in this different space, you know, where it's like they're competing in essentially the open source world where you have control, and then the Nintendo and PlayStation are the closed garden, the walled
Well, I've
garden.
always said Xbox needs to be upping its game with indies and stuff like that, because it's like if you can get more indie games on Xbox Game Pass and get they're like I'm trying to think. It's like Netflix versus YouTube in some ways, and that's not a good analogy, but like Xbox has more specific, focused, almost handpicked content, where Steam, dude, is just like you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
tens of
yeah.
thousands,
It's like
hundreds of
the
thousands
Apple
of games.
Store versus like the Play Store, you know,
It's
or
like
at
a
least like
store
early
that's
Play
been,
Store.
yeah, because they're being particular with what can be on their store, and then also what's on Game Pass, right? Like
Hmm.
I think they're more
But I mean,
selective.
from an accessibility standpoint, like if it's like, yeah, you can purchase from other game launchers, like from the Epic Game Store, from Steam or whatever, then Xbox can kind of retain that we're the premium store.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and another thing I really hope to see that they embrace with this sort of morphing the console into a PC machine, I hope they embrace mods. I hope they really embrace mods for console. They started doing that with like Bethesda games.
Hmm.
But you know, there are some amazing MCC mods and other mods for Halo games and Xbox games that just don't, they just live on PC,
Yeah.
right? And people almost exclusively use them with Steam. So if I could use Steam as like a PC format on my console, and like the modding community could explode.
The modding community is always. I have so many buddies. Like I'd play a game on Game Pass, and then they'd have it on Steam because I didn't want to buy it if I had it on Game Pass. You know, it was one of those things. But it'd be like, oh, well, we're playing on Steam, and it has. We always play with these mods. That happened multiple times with a game that like I already had because of Game Pass, and then
Hmm.
I would go up and I'd end up even having to buy it on Steam so I could play it with the mods, and that was
Well, I wonder if it's going to be, what are they going to do about the industry standard, like 33% or whatever charge? If you sell
oh
like an app on the store, like is it going to be, because if I own a PC, nobody's charging Microsoft 33% because I bought it using Windows, you know. But is it just going to be kind of open reign where it's like
yeah. I mean, Epic's is 15, so
that
Epic
they
Games.
charge, they charge a creator to sell on their thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I actually that's its own. I know where that comes from. By the way, if you want to go down a really random rabbit hole, I know where that 30% comes from.
Like the OG Nintendo guys?
No,
No, was it Sega or
no,
Atari?
no.
No?
It comes from
Wait.
phones.
Oh, didn't know that.
And so that's it's its own random story that I only know because of League of Legends and one of the primary investors. So it comes what was his name? The one of the primary investors in League of Legends who put on that podcast that I had you listen to.
Yeah.
What was that gaming podcast called?
It's like game. Can't remember. Gamecraft.
Gamecraft.
Yes.
So Mitch Lasky, fascinating. He talks about this, and he was one of the people. It comes from the phone industry and how that they were charging, and it literally was just a model that they copied.
Okay. Feel like it works good enough.
And they're just like, oh yeah, 30%, that makes sense. It's just like a number pulled out of the butt, and it's been used now for decades across multiple things. Like the impact of that choice.
Well, okay,
anyways,
so
that's derailing a little bit, but like, yeah.
okay, so I think but that gives me a little bit clearer of a picture. Okay, so if you sell a game on a certain company's launcher platform, right? Like Steam, Xbox Store, Epic Store, you have to pay whatever their fee is. Now, the difference is that the console was typically only had access to a single
ecosystem.
It was a closed ecosystem. They only had access to a single store. And so they were able to capture 100%
totally
of the software sold. They got that percentage, right?
Well, software sold, and then they where they made so much money was services. Xbox
Xbox Live,
Xbox Live, Xbox Gold, like that was such an important part of their model, right? And so all of it was this closed ecosystem where Xbox is now opening the ecosystem.
That's a good question. Like PCs don't pay for multiplayer access.
Does Xbox?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, from the Xbox Live days, you've had to pay.
Well, yeah, but not anymore, do you?
No, I'm pretty sure you do. They just rebranded it as like Xbox Game Pass Core or something like that. They've consolidated it, but the core level gets you like online multiplayer. I may be wrong. They may have changed it recently, but I mean, I've paid for that ever since, playing
you
Halo.
do need core or ultimate.
Yeah, to do multiplayer.
But there is some over 50 free to play games such as Fortnite Rocket League do not require subscription for online multiplayer. So it's dependent.
Okay, so it depends on if you have to like buy the game. So, but if I wanted to play like Call of Duty or Battlefield, like I would need a subscription, right?
So that's where some nuance, but like I bet you Steam, you're going to be able to access Steam on the new Xbox. I'm going to assume because it's going to be some kind of Windows compatibility. And
I just couldn't see them like charging for online multiplayer if you bought it on Xbox Store versus.
And I doubt they do, right? That's my point. Is it feels like they are, because they're making it an open ecosystem. You can't charge that, right?
Yeah.
You lose access to some of those things that used to be required before.
Well, yeah. I'm excited for next week. I'm excited to see like what's actually going to go down, and I'm excited to see. I'm sad to see the PlayStation games go. At least like Death Stranding 2.
They should all stay on.
They're going to come out on PC at least, so it's like I'm still excited for that. But like I'm sad to see PlayStation games go. But it's almost like in a weird, comforting way. It's almost like a return to form of like how I know the gaming industry to be.
Back to its good old
exclusive. Yeah, like, and there's obviously an evolution in there because it's really turning into, like we said, almost like two separate ecosystems where it's like a duopoly. It's a duopoly of duopolies, right?
Yeah, it sucks to be in the console because there's 4 players, but like 2 are fighting for just the console. The 2 Japanese companies are fighting just for exclusivity, probably really focused on its own IP, where you got the 2 American companies which are focused on broad reach,
yeah,
PC and console, and they're all about like open accessibility, and they're just fighting in a different way. right?
Well, this could be really interesting from the software for the gamers. I think it could be really great because we could get great games out of both fronts, right? So on like you said, the American company side, yeah, that's really what it is. It's the American Japanese companies is
It
segmented,
is.
right? And
Yep.
so the American companies, it's like yay capitalism, like free market, may the best game win, you know, and just like have at it. And so you get massive reach. So there's a huge incentive for publishers to publish on those platforms because they just will be able to
Well,
reach
you double your
man.
reach.
Yeah,
Steam, by the way, just doubled. If like the Steam machine, I say it doubled, but like I doubt it's going to have nearly as many
Steam machine users as Steam. Yeah,
Steam PC Steam users. But like that's interesting. It's
it's
another reason to post
at
on
least
there.
some kind of multiple, right?
It is, and but like where Epic Games is like, son of a, we're falling behind again. It's like we can't catch a break.
Yeah. You
Um,
got Fortnite. You get one per
yep.
generation. Okay, this is
The
quit
only reason why
complaining.
people have that launcher is for their free games.
Seriously, like yeah, there could be if in the segmentation of the American companies, we could see really great games get massive reach just because of and you're gonna have to wade through a lot of slot, but you're gonna have a lot of people to do that. And then on the Japanese side, because they're going to compete with the
Hyper tailored.
exclusive, yeah, and like really just high quality games
They
because
better freaking Nintendo and PlayStation been sucking in that. I feel like all the games coming out and that's where I'm like they need to really
buckle
nail
down.
that down because I'm not impressed by what's been coming out.
I agree that I haven't been super impressed with what they've done recently either. But the the thing is that they either succeed at it or they die because they're holding off into this I do it exclusives. They're
Well, they
not
haven't created a
adapting.
platform like
Yeah,
now Nintendo. I do think I think Sony is the worst off company of the bunch.
which is crazy because
They're at the
they
top.
totally crushed Xbox in this last cycle. I don't think that's going to happen this next cycle. My prediction is I think Xbox will outsell PlayStation unless PlayStation gets some killer app that
They
like
better
is
have
just
some
super
awesome
duper
games.
good.
Yeah, and they could. I still think they'll be successful. I just of all the people, the Nintendo's going broad, not with their distribution of their games, but with their IP. They're getting into movies, they're getting into amusement parks. They are hyper focused on creating high quality IP that is becoming more like Disney, right?
Yeah,
Where it's
it's a
like
very Disney model. Yeah,
a
absolutely.
very Disney model, high quality, very protective over their IP. Where the distribution model of Xbox is it's all about like how can we distribute our games everywhere. They're less focused. Now there's the Fallout. I think they're dabbling in everything, right? They got the Fallout IP, they got the
Hmm.
shows. Um anyways, you get my point. So
Yeah.
they're just trying to create an entertainment arm. And I still think there's a huge value, by the way, in their acquisitions, not just in gaming. It is in the distribution of IP
Hmm.
like into these other entertainment verticals. But like, anyways, I digress. So like, I'm excited to see what happens with this console. I think that's such a smart move to post about PC games because it now makes me go, I think I'm actually interested in an Xbox console depending on
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
makes me
I
more
mean,
interested.
it is. I mean, just with a single tweet and a couple of sentences, there was a of
Lots of
lot of
chatter.
text, spoken in between the lines there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So next week after the game developer conference, if we get details, we're gonna talk. I want to talk more next week about like some of the like hardware things that I'd like to see implement, maybe software UI stuff like that we could see that could really make a difference. Hopefully, we get some of that next week.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right,
All right,
Spence.
thanks,
Good to
man.
talk to you, buddy. See you guys next week.